Hizuru tells the legend of Hirako. In 1732, during the Kyoho starvation, a significant number of the Hitogashima Islanders passed on from starvation. An immense whale floated shorewards onto Omoto Ocean side, and the islanders assembled to eat it, accepting to be a gift from God. As a young lady moved toward the whale, its body gleamed with a stunning splendid light and took the presence of the young lady, and afterward continues to gobble up the young lady. Dreading heavenly discipline, the islanders began to revere the young lady as Hirako, a goddess. While trusting that Masahito will bring drinks, Shinpei affirms with Ushio that there are no shadows close by and Masahito isn't a shadow. Masahito comes and contemplates whether it's more blazing in Tokyo, and Shinpei states it's something similar, nonetheless. He specifies that Masahito let him know he visited Tokyo last year for a game occasion. Masahito then, at that point, reviews he did, and they discuss what games Masahito likes. Shinpei surmises that games resemble the books for Shinpei and educates him regarding Marshman by Nagumo Ryanosuke, where the principal character gets replicated and exchanged and nobody acknowledges it. Since the duplicate is an ideal multiplication of the first, Masahito concurs with Shinpei that the duplicate and unique would be something very similar, and makes sense of how typically cells are continuously becoming and supplanting older cells. Shinpei uncovers he additionally educated the legend of Hirako. He intended to ask Masahito, yet Hizuru informed him. Shinpei states you can view at Hirako as a being from space, and keeping in mind that it was uncontrolled, it likely replicated and changed into different things close by. It probably showed up on Earth as a shooting star and fell into the sea. It began replicating things from the sea and in the end changed into a whale a long time back, and some way or another washed shorewards on this island. As the locals accumulated, a young lady moved toward the whale and it replicated the young lady, beginning the shadow disorder. Masahito contemplates whether he is attempting to say the shadows are genuine, and Shinpei affirms, expressing they killed Ushio and his family, and will kill everybody at the celebration tomorrow. Masahito chuckles, yet Shinpei tells him. He realizes this is reality as he saw it and throws photographs at Masahito. Shinpei considers what is Masahito doing on a 70 years of age picture, and would it be a good idea for him he call him Shidehiko Hishigata. Shinpei then, at that point, focuses his weapon at Masahito and states he is Shurta. Masahito reviews how the shadow duplicated Hain and afterward ate her at the ocean side. He asks what else had Specialist Hishigata told Shinpei. Yet Shinpei states he is the one posing the inquiries and advises him to take a gander at the other picture, which Specialist Hishigata's dad required quite a while back. On the image, it's Hain with Masahito and a child. Shinpei states that Masahito ain't a shadow, however is no simple human. During the fourth circle, when Shinpei found the Hirako sculpture at the old Hishigata Center, he began to think there is an association between the Hishigata facility and the Hito place of worship. During the fifth circle, Hizuru speculated that Masahito could be the four-outfitted shadow, and accepts Shinpei and Ushio are now thinking it. They affirm, with Ushio making sense of that in the event that Hain is the shadow's mother, the committed place of worship to her is dubious. Hizuru asks why the four-equipped shadow would conceal its face, except if it's a human and can't duplicate. Shinpei saw him just printing, and Hizuru surmises that it could be a human wearing the dark mud that makes shadows like protection. That's what Jinjiro states, assuming he is hiding his face. It implies it's somebody they know and doesn't have any desire to be perceived. During the sixth circle, subsequent to dropping the assault on Kobayakua's family, Hizuru is certain that the four-furnished is Masahito, as it aggravates her the same way as Masahito. Since Jinjiro couldn't stick him, it implies he is possible for sure human. Hizuru figures they can undoubtedly kill him by going to the holy place. Yet Shinpei needs more substantial evidences and states they can haggle with him, assuming that they corner him. During the seventh circle, Shurta got a consumed to its left side arm. Saito shows the 40-year-old picture to Shinpei and uncovers that Shidehiko's dad began going about as a specialist, and initially Hishigata and Karakiris were initially one family. In the long run Shidehiko created a kid with Hain, which wasn't a shadow. However, birthed from Hain's flesh body. Shidehiko began calling himself spouse of a divine being and took Hain's last name, Karakiri. The Karakiris became workers of God, while the Hishigata a group of specialists. The kid developed to be parting picture of Shidehiko. Hain's regular birth was a clone of its dad. Seeing that Shidehiko made Hain duplicate his character and recollections, and move them into the kid, in this way re-establishing his childhood. Shidehiko then, at that point, kept being reawakened again and again by Hain, permitting him to live for quite a long time. Shinpei calls Masahito a human shadow half-breed. Masahito noticed it's uncalled for he can circle and had arrived at this point for only a day. Masahito reviews 1732 and the starvation. In any case, he makes sense of that the part where they took care of her people and Hain favored them with bounties of Fish is false. Truly, many islanders were transformed into shadows, and as the shadows didn't have to eat, that figured out how to save the leftover anglers. Ushio lashes out and asks him for what valid reason he killed Shinpei's folks. Masahito uncovers they tracked down Hiriko's cavern and needed to open up to the world, however presently he contemplates whether they would have been more joyful assuming he made them into shadows. Shinpei is furious, yet hold himself from killing Masahito. He asks him for what valid reason is he serving Hain as he can't go to her home with her, but Masahito states it's his obligation to see his mom's desire satisfied. Ushio advises Shinpei to kill him. Yet Shinpei feels something isn't correct. Masahito shows his left arm and states he is presumably asking why he isn't harmed. Ushio, unfit to stand it any longer, emerges and slices and kills Masahito. Ushio makes sense of she did it as Shinpei proved unable, since he was considering him to be a human. Ushio then, at that point, calls the rest, illuminating them that she killed Shurta. At that time, another Masahito shows up and wounds Ushio's shadow and cuts her with a lance. Shinpei loses it and takes shots at Masahito multiple times. As dark mud encompasses Masahito going him to Shurta, he tells Shinpei he should have been somewhat more gold. Shurta then tosses the lance at Shinpei and hits him in the chest. As Shinpei passes on, he reviews how he needed to go alone and hear from Shurta himself why he killed his folks and that he wouldn't fret biting the dust once again. Ultimately they concur with Ushio going with him. They likewise settle on a sign for help, which would be a shot. Yet at first he will take shots twice at Masahito's shadow to affirm he isn't a shadow. Hearing the shot, everybody surges in, however Shinpei flies out of the sanctum and gets stuck to a tree. Shurta then noticed that with Ushio's demise, he can circle just with gloom and lament now. Shinpei then stirs after he and Ushio saved the children from Buchi. At that time, the children begin to ponder where Ushio went. Knowing she passed on, Shinpei begins to cry.